Now, we finished discussing the Bhagavad Gita, and I was talking to Swami Aparajitananda. I said, next topic, what we should be doing, and he suggested, Ishwar, you should really take the Tattva Bodha. And he says that some of these teachers of Bhagavad Gita, they take Tattva Bodha first in their teaching and then start the Bhagavad Gita because that makes the understanding of the Bhagavad Gita a little bit easier. Well, we have finished the Bhagavad Gita teaching in English, and hopefully we will restart maybe in English, and we will all get more educated down the road. The uh, the Tattva Bodha, and we'll talk Tattva Bodha in particular starting next section, is the Prakran Granth, and that really gives a lot of definitions or vyakhya. If you look at the vyakhya's, a lot of definition of the Vedic philosophy. So today I'm going to go over a few things as a general introduction. We have covered this thing in piecemeal during our Bhagavad Gita classes of last 2.5 years. This is I'm going to try to see if I can just streamline all those things in this particular session. So the glory of human life or a glory of a human birth, if you look that way, it's been said in the scripture that for all living creatures, a human birth is indeed very, very rare. And even rare is to have our inner personality that is full of courage, full of discriminative intellect, detachment, equanimity, peace, and happiness. And that is what makes us fittest for for a liberation. So to have a to have a desire for liberation is also a very rare thing to have in the human birth, and also our capacity to surrender to our spiritual masters. This is some of these things are very rare in the human birth, and that is why the human birth is considered to be a crown of the creation. When Lord has created all the beings, the human beings are considered the crown of the creation. So right now there is a call to throw away our lethargy, our dejection, our sentiments, and self pity, and let us wake up to face the life through the real understanding our true nature. If we ask somebody and anybody, what is the goal of human life? This is what we are here for. What is the goal of human life? Then the people in ordinary worldly discussion, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a businessman, I want to be a lawyer, all different kind of answers will come to us. Then we further ask them, but why do you want to do what you want to be? They say, I want it for wealth and for popularity. So, for richness, name and fame and richness is what they want to do this thing. Then we say, but why do you want to be rich and famous? Ultimately, then their answer will be, I want to be happy. Sukha prapti and dukh nivrutti. Attaining happiness and avoiding unhappiness is the goal of every human being or every living being, basically. Now, we asked, when did this desire of becoming happy started in your life? We are all born with this desire. A little baby will cry when the baby is hungry, when the diaper is wet. Why? Because that makes them unhappy. They want to be happy. So this desire is from birth. This is a desire that we have from the minutes we wake up in the morning until we go to bed. And this is the desire that carries on from life to life to life. So this desire is forever. In short, there is a beautiful statement by Swami Tejomayanand. By the way, the reference to this Tattva Gnan is from Swami Aparajitananda, Swami Tejomayananda, and Swami Sarvapriyananda. These are the three spiritual masters I have studied and using their teaching in our reference. And Swami Tejomayananda had one beautiful comment that I like. He says, in short, we cannot be happy being unhappy. So I like that statement. We cannot be happy being unhappy. So, what is the nature of the happiness that we are seeking? We are seeking the happiness that's unlimited and the happiness that is infinite, everlasting. We do not want this happiness to end. So we want the maximum happiness and we want the happiness for the maximum amount of time. Very simple. Chinmaya Mission's motto says we want to give the happiness to maximum number of the people for the maximum amount of time. This is one of the statement in Chinmaya Mission motto. So you understand. Now, all of us want to be happy and we think that the happiness is out there. So what do? We try to get the happiness from outside and we try to change things around to make us happy. Just to give you free examples, or few examples rather, we try to change the places to be happy. During these 55 years that I've been in this country, six of my friends, they moved from India to United States. They got education here. They they earned money here for 15, 20 years. Then they felt happiness is not here. So they moved back to India. They stayed there for 10, 15 years for some reason. They say, oh, happiness was more in America and not in India. Out of six, five of them have migrated back to this country. Happens to be one of my classmates, and Kanchan Pai knows him very well too. The bottom line is we change places for one and one reason, happiness. We are waiting for a better time. Oh, if it's not there, I'll wait a little bit longer. Maybe the better time will come. So, time and place. This is the things. The third thing is happiness from the objects. We buy a new car, we buy a different brand car, bigger home, the televisions, the new cell phones, you name it. We think that is where the happiness is. When it's new, it gives us happiness. Then it starts giving us a problem, and then new model comes out. So our happiness goes down and down and down as the time goes by. So those objects that were giving us happiness, they're not giving us happiness anymore. Circumstances, we try to change the situations. A bachelor says, oh, you know what, I want to be happy, I want to get married. So he goes out and gets married in search of happiness. Married people say, you know what, I'm not happy in the marriage, I want a divorce. So they're going into the divorce for being a happiness. A third group of people say, hell with everything else. I want to become a Swami to be happy because all these Swamis, they look very happy. Arjuna, in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, tells Lord Krishna, I don't want to fight the war. That was his duty. I rather be a sannyasi, go out and live on begging alms and survive. Why? He thought that's where the happiness was. So, changing the circumstances is another thing that we try to do. People, we have friends that we are happy with. We have conflict, we get rid of the friends, get a new friends. We have a house made that we were happy about. Now all of a sudden we are not. So we fire and hire. So this hire and fire is in search of happiness. The biggest thing is, now this is all outside. Now coming to the body, we want the happiness from our body. How do we get the happiness from the body? Look at Michael Jackson. He had 50 surgeries done on his own body because he did not like his look. And at the end of the day, he became looking lousier than what he was before. It's been estimated about 25 to 30 billion dollars are spent in cosmetic surgery in the United States of America. Now the new trend has been tattoos. You see people with the tattoos all over the body because they think if I make my if I change my body, it will bring me happiness. Body piercing, hair products, the skin products. I mean, you just name it. This is all one and only one thing, trying to find happiness by changing how we look. So that is the thing. Now, if you look at this at the end of the day, all all these things that people do, they're still not happy because they are looking for the happiness outside. And the scripture says the happiness is not outside, happiness is inside. Swami Chidanand Saraswati from Rishikesh, Parmarth Niketan, he puts out a calendar every year. And one of the statements in his calendar I was reading, and I'll quote it. He says, if you ask somebody, what do you want? He says, I want happiness. I. Who is that I? Is that ego. Because when we say I, most of the people, they understand this lower I, the ego I. So who wants happiness? Ego wants happiness. Number two is want. Want is a desire. It's a desire of the ego. If you can inhale it, if you can destroy the ego, if you can decrease the des- or the desire, so destroy the ego, decrease the desire, then what is left? It is only thing that's left is happiness. So in this statement, those first two factors itself gives you the answer. Swami Chinmayanand has very beautiful said, and that is also is said in Bhaj Govindam, not Swamiji's by himself, but Chinmayanand Swami has and his commentary, in this Bhaj Govindam, and he has said people are looking for these three things for happiness: Kanchan, Kamini, and Kirti. What is Kanchan? All this wealth. That is Kanchan. What is Kamini? Kamini is opposite sex, but basically all the people around you. Kanchan, Kamini, and Kirti. Kirti is positions. That is, you know, I want to be a CEO, I want to be director, I want to be a chairman, I want to be this. So Kanchan, Kamini, and Kirti are the category where all the things I listed, they are falling into. If the objects were the happy giver, if they were able to give us the happiness, then let us analyze few scenarios, and which you all heard. A person in the restaurant is sitting with a cigarette and he's having the greatest pleasure of his life. The gentleman sitting on the table next door, he's coughing and sneezing and having a hard time breathing. It's the same object, cigarette, that makes this person happy. The other person is not happy. Alcohol. You look at the alcohol. A person drinks alcohol and he says he's out of this world. The other person, he vomits drinking the alcohol. So that is not the answer. When you say, I like the ice creams, you go and have ice cream, but the first scoop ice cream is going to give great happiness. Now, theoretically, if that ice cream is a happy giver thing, as you increase the dose of ice cream, it should increase your happiness. By the time of fifth and sixth scoop of ice cream, you're going to hate eating the ice cream and it's going to make you unhappy. The same object that made you happy makes you unhappy. So, if the happiness is not the nature of the objects, then it naturally has to be the nature of the subject. And this is a call parishesh nyay. If there are only two things for happiness, subject and object, the person who wants to be happy is a subject and he wants to get the happiness from the object. If the objects are not the source of happiness, it has to be subject. When we are in deep sleep, this is another thing that Vedanta takes, the three states. When we are in deep state, we have no objects, we have no mind, and we are in the most happiest state of our life. At that time, the only thing that we are connected to is our Atma or our Sachidananda Swarup. When we are connected to our true nature, that is the time we have the utmost happiness. So, in short, the real I, the Brahman, the Atman, the unconditional unconditional objectless happiness is our true nature. Then why are we not happy? Because of our ignorance. We are ignorant about who we are. We think we are this body, mind, intellect, and this ignorance is a root cause of unhappiness. In Vedanta, there is a profound statement: ignorance is a root cause of suffering. So, now the question you ask, so the ignorance of not knowing the mathematics is the cause of my unhappiness? Ignorance of not knowing English is my cause of happiness? No. The ignorance of not knowing who you truly are. That ignorance is what we are talking about. Now, if you know the cause of the happiness, then one has to find the treatment, the cure. If the ignorance is the cause of suffering and unhappiness, the knowledge of self should be the answer to happiness. So now we are coming to the question, but how do we get the knowledge? Now we found out the self knowledge is something that gives us a happiness. How do we get the knowledge? Now let's divide this knowledge into two parts: worldly knowledge and divine knowledge, which is called a spiritual knowledge. Worldly knowledge in our Gujarati is called laukik. Laukik knowledge, the divine is called alaukik knowledge. So this is the two categories. Now, for getting the knowledge, you need three things. The first is you need a subject. Who wants to get the happiness? The subject. I want to get the happiness. So this is the subject. In the language of Vedanta, so don't get confused, this will be repeated down the road, but in the language of Vedanta, subject is called pramata. Pramata is the one, the subject, he wants to get the happiness. Happiness from various objects. I want to buy a car. I want to get a house. I want to get a new cell phone. So the happiness from the object. So now the knowledge of the object. In Vedanta, it is called prameya. The, the subject is pramata, the object is prameya. How do I get the knowledge of this beautiful new cell phone or this new car? So we look at the various means of getting the knowledge, and that various means is called a pramana. Pramata, subject, prameya, the object, pramana is the method of getting the knowledge. These are the three words which we all use it in every day, but we never use it in this particular sense. Now, let us look at the praman is also called proof, the method, or it is called by argument. But once I go over these methods, you will understand. Now, for a worldly or for laukik gnan, for a laukik knowledge, there are three praman or three methods. Again, you will know once we talk about. One is called a pratyaksha. Pratyaksha. You want a car? Go to a dealership, look at the various car. Pratyaksha. Prati aksha. Prati aksha. Aksha is our indriya. The knowledge through our sense organs is called pratyaksha. What we are doing is hearing the satsang is pratyaksh with our own ears. You want to taste some food, go to the restaurant and eat. That is a pratyaksh taste. Smell. You want to smell a rose, get a rose and smell. That is a pratyaksha knowledge. Pratyaksha, direct knowledge. That is pratyaksha. The second one is called paroksha. Per aksha, beyond our indriyas, beyond our sense organs, the knowledge that we gain through a means beyond our sense organs. We have given this example. You are driving by miles away and you see a smoke coming out and you say, oh, there must be a fire. You don't see the fire through your indriyas, through your eyes. You don't see pratyaksh fire. But paroksha, that is an inference. That is an inference. So you infer that if there is a smoke, there got to be a fire. So pratyaksha and paroksha. So paroksha is an inference-based knowledge. Some of these things, inference-based, are also what we will talk about into this our studies. But also the knowledge of science is inference based. You go to class and the teacher teaches a certain thing we don't know, but we have a faith. Now in the paroksh knowledge, you have to have some degree of faith, and that is where the faith is needed, is a paroksh knowledge. And the third one, now the pratyaksha knowledge is called a stula, because sthula means uh, sthula. I'm just trying to see the meaning of the sthula. Anybody knows the meaning of the sthula? Kanchan bhai?
Jod,
Huh?
Jod, Jod.
Yeah. So sthula drashti, right? Paroksha is called a subtle, or a sukshma knowledge. And the third one
Prox.
also is called words praman. You know, you read a description of a car before you go buy a car. And now you get the idea. This car is better than this. So it's a word praman. Pratyaksha, paroksha, and words praman. So pratyaksha praman is a sthul vision. Paroksha and word praman is a sukshma or a subtle vision. So these are the two kinds of vision that we use to get the knowledge. Which knowledge? Laukik knowledge. Brahma Gnan is a divine, it is an alaukik knowledge that cannot be obtained through any of these methods. These are worldly methods. So, which method we have to use? There is a word used in there, it's called aparoksha method. Not pratyaksh, not paroksha, aparoksha. Why aparoksha? Here the pramata, I want to know, and prameya, I want to know about myself. So the pramata and prameya are same. In the worldly knowledge, pramata is different and prameya is different. Here the pramata and prameya both are same. I want to know about myself. And that is why it requires some special kind of a method or pramana. And that praman is called Vedas or the scriptures. Because what is happening? Our rishis in their meditation, they got this knowledge of Brahman. It was an intuitive knowledge. It just kind of came to them out of nowhere by God's grace. And that is the knowledge that we are talking about is called aparoksh knowledge or aparoksh anubhuti. That is the divine knowledge or the alaukik knowledge. Now, this particular vision is called tattvadrashti. Tattva drashti, many times in Bhagavad Gita, the reference comes Jnana Chakshu. These are not the eyes that we have. These are not the sukshma eyes of inference, but these are the eyes of knowledge. So it is a tattva drashti or it is through a gnana chakshu that we get this divine knowledge. We all are Brahman in our true sense, but our ignorance of the Brahman has covered our vision, and by various pointers in the Vedas given, it helps us understand who we really are. Now, there is another twist I'm going to take in this thing now about this Laukik knowledge and Alaukik knowledge, the worldly knowledge and the knowledge of Brahman or self. This we have also talked before, but this is in a continuation. I need to cover this thing. In life, there are two types of achievements. Knowledge is one of the achievements. We are achieving something, knowledge, right? Two types of achievements. Praptasya prapti and apraptasya prapti. The worldly gain, the what we gain in the world is apraptasya prapti. Apraptasya, what I don't have. I don't have house, I want to gain the house. I don't have a car, I want to gain car. This is I don't have a doctor's degree, I want to get a doctor's degree. I don't have money, I want to get money. Apraptasya, what I don't have is what I want to get. What is the method? First, you have to have a knowledge of what you want to get and you have to work for it. So, knowledge plus work, knowledge plus action is equal to gain. You got it? So, this is apraptasya prapti. Praptasya prapti. We want to get something we already have. We are Sachidanand Swarup. We know we are, that's what we are. But we have forgotten about it. You go out, you drive a car every day. One day my wife says, I need to go out and get something uh, from the store. I say, okay, I'm busy. Why don't you just go and. So she goes out, and comes back. Then next day, I'm ready to go out. I'm looking for keys all over the house. I cannot find the keys. We have a place where we hang our keys. That day, she did not do it. So I I looked everywhere, and I said, Leela, I don't know where these keys are. She said, I don't know either. So I said, let's think what happened. Oh, I went for shopping yesterday. I said, did you hang the key? Oh, you know what? Let me look in my coat jacket. Sure enough, the key was there. So I said, oh, I found the key. Was it really lost? It wasn't lost. We were ignorant about where the key was. There was really no work involved. When we got the knowledge, we got the keys. My friend Kanchan Bhai, he walks around in the house with his glasses, up here. It probably never happened to him, but some people, it has happened to them that, they're working so hard and then all of a sudden they hang the glasses on their head and then they look all over in the house. Can't find my glasses. She says, honey, did you find my glasses? The wife laughs at him. He says, it's on your head. Why don't you just, oh, I found my glasses. Did he really found the glasses? No. It was there all the time. It was with him all the time. Praptasya prapti. Brahma Gnan is what we already have with us all the time, but we don't have it. So now, so this is the Praptasya prapti. So for Praptasya prapti, there is no work involved. Ignorance, you get the knowledge and you gain it. Simple. Now, as we said, for this knowledge, how do we get it? So, this is the intuitive knowledge. It is eternal truth as a revelation in meditation by our spiritual masters. Down the road, Vyasa, he is not really actually a founder, but he is a compiler. All this knowledge, that intuitive knowledge that was collected and was passed on verbally as a Guru Shishya Parampara, Vedavas compiled this knowledge and put it into four Vedas. That is why our religion is called a Vedic religion, eternal religion, Sanatan Dharma. That's how the name came, Vedic religion. So four Vedas were codified and compiled by Vedavyasa, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Kama Veda, Atharva Veda, which you already know. Now, if you look at the Vedas, very difficult to understand. So later on, spiritual masters, to help their disciples, they started dividing this thing. They divided into two main groups for better understanding. One is called a dharma part, and the other one is called a Brahman part. In the dharma part, what was included in this part? Okay, the laws governing the individual, that is jivatma, the laws governing a jivatma, the world, jagat, and Ishvara, Jagadish, the laws governing jiva, jagat, and Jagadish, their relationship and the laws of karma. And by doing this, they were trying to help man to live happy and successful life. So there are two main things come into this dharma part. Karma kanda, that is the ritualistic portion. Upasana Kand is a prayers and prarthana and bhakti marg, or we call a karma yoga, bhakti yoga. That comes in the Vedas dharma part. And the other part now we talk about is a Brahman. Brahman is a knowledge of the ultimate truth. It answers the fundamental questions of life. Who am I? What is the goal of life? Self knowledge. And this is to find liberation. Now, liberation has been also, if you look at the steps of liberation, and if there are 100 steps, the initial step of liberation is liberation from what? Liberation from suffering of all the kind is also considered initial step of moksha. The moksha is not going through the cycle of life and birth and death, but that's the highest step. But we want to start liberation of avoiding these three kinds of suffering, and that is by this thing. Now, in this Brahman is called a Jnanakand or Jnana Yoga. It is also called Upanishad and also called a Vedanta. In the Vedas, it's been divided into four portions. Uh, you know, the sutras, and then, but the last part of the Vedas is called a Vedanta. Ant of Vedas. Now, that is, Ant is also not really the end of Vedas, but it is a culmination of the Vedas, or it's a cream of the Vedas, and that is why Vedanta is called the highest knowledge in the Vedas, and that later on got translated into Upanishad, which we have 108 Upanishad. 10 or 11 Upanishads are considered the main Upanishads. Now, as the time went by, even the Upanishadic knowledge became very difficult for the people to understand. So, by the grace of our spiritual master, they went few steps further, and then they came out with certain scriptures. Now, scriptures that they came out with later on are divided into two parts. One is called Prasthanatrayi, or a three foundational texts or scriptures of Sanatan Dharma knowledge. So these are Prasthanatrayi, three. The first one in the Prasthanatrayi is Upanishad. Upanishad is basically Shruti, the one that was heard by our spiritual masters and came into the Vedas and then later on became the Upanishad. That is Upanishad. Second part of the Prasthantraya is a Bhagavad Gita, which is a Smriti, part of the Mahabharata, and which has been, it is uh, Smriti. Third is a Brahma Sutra. Now, Brahma Sutra is called Nyaya Praman or Nyaya Prasthan. So basically, these three foundational texts are Upanishad, Gita, and a Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra is in the form of aphorism. એફોરિઝમ આપણે ગુજરાતીમાં કહે ને તો કહેવત. એક આપણે કોઈ ને કે an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. It's only one statement, but it tells a lot of things. So these Brahma Sutras, basically, they were short, concise statements revealing the truth, philosophical principles, or the moral lessons. So, this is what the Brahma Sutras are all about. Then, for the beginners of the spirituality, sometimes even these three Prasthanatraya Granthas were found to be difficult for each individual topic. The other thing that happened is the the basic facts of the knowledge did not change. Brahma Sutra Jagat, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya never changed. So certain basic principles of the knowledge did not change, but to make it very clear, they came out with some subject matter, and that later on also by compiled by our spiritual masters for making it even easier for ordinary people like us to understand, and that part is called a prakarana grantha. Prasthanatrayi foundational text, prakarana grantha. Jagadguru Shankaracharya has been considered the author of many, many, many Prakran Grantha. Few of them they came after that too. But Shankaracharya has written so many Prakran Grantha. And just to list the few Prakran Grantha is Dragadrashya Viveka. I have mentioned many times that. Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha, which we will be taking. Then Vivek Chudamani, one of the very detailed, Vivek Chudamani is also considered the crown of the Prakran Grantha. The other book that is very popular, which I was fortunate enough to study under the guidance of Swami Sarvapriyananda, is Aparoksha Anubhuti. This is a book that has 144 verses, and this book has been uh, expounded by Swami Sarvapriyananda in 44 lectures, 1 hour 15-minute lectures of total 44. In his I think in his 12th verse, oh yes, I found it. In his 12th verse, let us see what the Aparoksha Anubhuda's verse number 12 says. He says, this is the knowledge about who am I, what is this world all about, who am I, Jiva. What is this world all about, Jagat Guru. Who created this world, Jagdish. What material did he use to create the world? Verse number 12 has 4 questions in this book. Who am I? What is this world all about? Who created it? And from what he created it. So this is what we are basically talking about is Tattva Bodha. I had a fortunate to study Swami Kanchanbhai and Gita Ben already know this. Jagadguru Swami Tejomayanand has written a beautiful commentary, and this is also something that is Swami Aparajit Nanda has also discussed in his 10 or 12 lectures. Very beautifully done. This book talks about Jivatma, Jagat, and Jagadish. Those questions in the Aparoksh Anubhuti have been very beautifully answered. What the Tattva Bodh has also done is Tattva Bodha has given a lot of terminology what we come across in the study of our scriptures. So a lot of vyakhyaas or terminology has been discussed in this thing, and it's done by question and answer. The guru is asking the question and guru is giving the answer. So beautifully done question and answer for the entire book. So next week we will start this study of Tattva Bodha, and we will be starting with a Mangalacharan. Anytime we study something, this is something that cannot happen without the grace of Almighty Lord. And there is a beautiful Mangalacharan for this Tattva Bodha that we will be starting with next week. And at this point, I would ask Kanchan Bhai or anybody who has any comments. Kanchan Bhai, please come and give your comments on this Tattva Bodha introduction portion.
Thank you. Dr. A.K. Patel has covered everything very nicely. I put few references basically. I have nothing much to add. Actually, the first one he says about Manushya Janma, right? So, if you look at the Vivek Chudamani, that's what I'm refer back to again. First stanza, Vivek Chudamani. It says, Jantu nama narjanma दुर्लभ मतः पुष्पम तत्व विप्रता तस्मात् वैदिक धर्म मार्ग पड़ता विद्वत्वम स्मस्मात् परम आत्मा नात्म विवेक विवेकनम स्वनुभव ब्रह्मात्मना संस्थिति मुक्ति नो सत जन्म कोटि सुकृत ही पुण्य बिना लभ्यते. This life regarded is very rare among all these creatures. And with this life, if you have ability to study, ability to understand the bit, and ability to assimilate what is given in the books, then and then you will get after this, you will get up to hundreds of births, you will get there. Second verse is more important too. Dullabham trai vai tato deva nugra hetukam manushyatvam mumukshitvam mahapurush sansaya. He said he required three things required: the God guide, God grace, good company, satsang, what we are having now. Okay? Dullabham is very, 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 very rare to get it. Three things. One thing is Manushyatvam is more life. Mumukshitvam, the ability to liberate your life that you have trouble. First, you have to recognize you have insight that you have problem. Then the problem could be solved. If you do not have insight that you have trouble, you will never get around. You're drinking, I'm happy with drinking, you'll never quit drinking. So you have to first understand that you have trouble. You are unhappy with this life, or something is missing in the life. The happiness you're looking for is not here. That you already pointed out. Then they look for happiness. And Mahapurusha Sansaya means good company of learned
Good.
guru. Three things happens, then and then you will progress. So that part is called satsang is very important. That's one thing I point out, right? And that next is happiness. So happiness is of basically everybody looking for happiness. That's a basic instinct of life. Sat Chita Anand. Sat means existence, I want to live. Nobody wants to die. Living is the most strongest impulse in the body. You will live and want to live forever. Second thing, to know. You want to study. You want to know something, the knowledge and happiness. Happiness is your nature. You're looking for happiness outside, you will not find it. It is the paristhiti you are trying to change. It's the monosthiti you have to change. The paristhiti and monosthiti are two different things. So how are you going to get that one? Happiness could be Vishayananda. That's you're looking for this outside. That you pointed out. Vishayananda is definitely there is joy in subjects. There is no doubt object has happiness. But only happiness is short-lived. As soon as the contact with the object done, happiness is over. Repeated contact does not give happiness. You already pointed out the ice cream theory. This contact itself is happiness, but it's very short-lived. Second with Bhajvananda, you become study or you become bhakta. Happiness comes there by repeated God's name. And third is Atmananda, your self-knowledge. Your happiness in yourself, without any object, without any books, without anything. Happiness yourself only. That's your true nature. Happiness not in subjects, object, is only in you are the happy. If you get everything, happiness persists with you. That's the third part of it. And then you look for the knowledge, right? There are two types of knowledge physically. Even we are studying now physically Mundak Upanishad. It says, what is knowledge? So there are two types of knowledge. There's para and apara. You already pointed out different way. Para is higher knowledge. Apara with lower knowledge. Knowledge of objects. Anything other than me that you're studying, that's apara. And para is myself itself, subject. That's knowledge is there. So this knowledge is very short also. How are you going to get the knowledge? You have to have means of knowledge, right? The means of knowledge, there are six way of getting knowledge. Knowledge has a pratyaksha, anumana, that goes on all the way down to sabda knowledge. Sabda pramana. Sabda pramana, our shruti, smruti goes into sabda pramana. That's the knowledge that is in the form of words and sabda. That pramana is now considered to be the highest knowledge. What you see is not a true. We don't conceive seeing the correct knowledge. Most people charvak think what you see is what you get. What is this? This world is alone. That's it. But that's not true. What you see is very elusive. You see water in the desert. There's no water. You see ground flat. All is not flat. What you see is a very, very little knowledge what you're getting. Or Indriya has very limited ability to get it. So paroksha knowledge is not a true knowledge. Anuman knowledge is like the bad one. Sabda pramana is considered to be highest knowledge, and that's given. That knowledge is still apara knowledge. It's still a apara knowledge. It is still books knowledge. It does not take you to happiness. It directs you towards the happiness, but it does not give reading book, reading the Vedas will not make you liberate you. Will not. It tells you to how to liberate it. Then it itself comes. It's Shruti. First is Shruti. Then then comes the Shruti, and then it's the Anubhuti. Anubhuti is what leads you to it. Okay, so unless you have Anubhuti of this knowledge given it, you will not liberate. So he already pointed out all this lower knowledge, upper knowledge. Now then we go to Vedas. And Vedas is really called Upanishads too. Upanishads had double meaning. Vedanta, he said, is not Vedanta, end of the Vedas. Some chapters of Upanishads are in the middle too. Some are in end, some are that. Vedanta is essence of the knowledge is Vedanta. And what Upanishad comes in from three things. Up, Ni, Sat. Up means you sit near, Ni means Nishchita, and Sat means Sat, knowledge. So Upanishad means go sit near the Guru, sit near your teacher, and get the knowledge. That Upanishad what is. And Upanishad part has three parts again. Sat means true knowledge, Sat which liberates you, Sat loosens your bound, your attachment to the worldly thing. So Upanishads are we study. We are not, all this book we are studying it, I refer back to Upanishad. Anything you make a statement, your reference to Upanishad. If you look certain books, Shankaracharya will always refer back to where he came from. He doesn't make up things himself. He always borrows knowledge from his guru or from the Upanishads. So all the knowledge, all these definitions we're going to study now are derived from some Upanishads. So if you really look for the knowledge in Upanishads, they are given somewhere else. So for example, I give you one example of how do you get the knowledge? You learn something, right? You shravanam, and a mananam, and nididhasnam. Where did these three come from? They come from Upanishad too. First Upanishad, the longest Upanishad is Brahma, is the Brahma Aranyaka Upanishad. That's where it readable. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhasnam didn't pop up somewhere. It came from Upanishad. So all references are there back in the Upanishad. So all the definitions given here are derived from the Upanishads. So that's what I say. Definitions are pretty technical. It's worth remembering, but it has very short four phrases, so very deep meaning in it. So just like you said, Kehavat, these are aphorisms, and aphorisms are very short. Like Manusmriti has 555 aphorisms, right? Bhakti Sutra has almost 300 aphorisms. So the aphorisms are very short-lived statements with a deep meaning in it. So we're going to study lots of statements. A lot of statements have a lot of definitions, and the definition will get you somewhere. So you have to understand the definition, try to memorize it, and then interpret. Sanskrit knowledge is a little bit needed in this one now. If Sanskrit knowledge is poor, we could convert it in Gujarati, but original words cannot be converted. Some Sanskrit words cannot be converted to English, neither Gujarati. So you have to get them as it is. Okay. So that's basically my few things to say. Okay.
Jai Shri Krishna. Anybody wants to add few words, Hasmukh Bhai? Anybody, wants to add few things? Any
Can I
comment?
speak in Gujarati? Can I speak in Gujarati? Gujarati?
You know what? Towards the end, I'm
Go ahead,
yeah,
Gujarati.
say in Gujarati. Yeah, Gujarati
Yeah,
mein
go
bolo.
ahead, Gujarati, that's fine, no problem. But this definition will come in Sanskrit. You got to know a little bit Sanskrit more. That's the only way it's going to work out.
But your comments in Gujarati will be fine. We will.
Yeah, Gujarati will come. Any questions, you ask the questions to we to answer you as much as we can.
Yeah, જમવાની અંદર
Ashwin bhai,
અથાણું
go ahead.
જમવામાં અથાણું આવે ને તેનો સ્વાદ બહુ આવે એટલે તમે આ થોડું
These
અથાણું
books are translated in Gujarati too, so it's not, but basic Sanskrit definitions are remain Sanskrit, period. There's no way get around it.
ઓલરાઈટ હસમુખભાઈ ગુજરાતી આવી જાઓ.
તો પછી આપણે વાત કરીએ તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ. જ્ઞાન ચક્ષુ આપણે શું છે? જ્ઞાન ચક્ષુ. બરાબર? તો આપણે લેટ અસ ગો બેક ટુ ગીતા. 7મો અધ્યાય 19મો શ્લોક. વાસુદેવ સર્વમ. આ બધું વાસુદેવ જ છે. બરાબર? પછી આગળ 9મો અધ્યાય 15મો શ્લોક. ભગવાન કહે છે કે હું સર્વત્ર સર્વરૂપે રહેલો છું. એટલે ભગવાન છે એ પોતે જ કારણરૂપ છે અને કાર્ય જે જગત છે એ ભગવાનનું કાર્ય જ છે. એટલે દરેક ગ્રુપ ભગવાન જ છે. એટલે પ્રાણીઓ બધા, પક્ષીઓ બધા, જંતુઓ બધા, ઇવન જળ પદાર્થ છે એ પણ ભગવાન જ છે. હવે કોઈ કહેશે કે જળ પદાર્થ ભગવાન છે, કેવી રીતે ભગવાન થાય જળ પદાર્થ? તો ચાલો આપણે થોડું લેટ અસ ગો ટુ સાયન્સ. સાયન્સમાં છે ને કોઈ પણ પદાર્થ લઈએ આપણે, એને એક અણુ લઈએ, એકદમ નાનામાં નાનો અણુ લઈએ, અને એ અણુને આપણે જ્યારે માઇક્રોસ્કોપ જોઈશું આપણે, તો અંદર વચ્ચે એક ન્યુક્લિયસ હશે. ન્યુક્લિયસની અંદર છે ને પ્રોટોન અને ન્યુટ્રોન હશે. પ્રોટોન અને ન્યુટ્રોન હશે. એની આગળ પાછળ છે ને ઇલેક્ટ્રોન ફરતા હશે. એકદમ ફાસ્ટ ફરતા હોય છે ઇલેક્ટ્રોન. તો ઇલેક્ટ્રોન જે ફરતા હોય છે એટલે એ ઉર્જા છે બધી. હવે આઇન્સ્ટાઈને છે ને તે શોધી કાઢ્યું, આઇન્સ્ટાઈને, કે આ પદાર્થમાંથી બી ઉર્જા બની શકે છે. એટલે એને એક સૂત્ર છે એનું, E ઇઝ ઇક્વલ ટુ M મલ્ટીપ્લાય સ્કી સ્ક્વેર. E એટલે એનર્જી, ઇઝ ઇક્વલ ટુ M. M એટલે દ્રવ્ય, માસ, અને C એટલે પ્રકાશની ગતિ. પ્રકાશની ગતિ છે કેટલી અત્યારે ખબર? 3 લાખ કિલોમીટર પર સેકન્ડ. અને એનો બધો વર્ગ એટલે 900 અબજ કિલોમીટર પર સેકન્ડ થાય. હવે આવું કેમ છે? એનર્જી કેમ આવી રીતે પ્રકાશ ગતિ પર? કારણ કે એનર્જી ઇઝ ટ્રાવેલિંગ વિથ ધ પ્રકાશની ગતિ ચાલે છે એટલા માટે. હવે આની પછી છે ને તે એ લોકોએ આ છે ને ન્યુક્લિયર પ્લાન્ટ છે ને, કે ન્યુક્લિયર પ્લાન્ટ જે કહેવાય ને, ન્યુક્લિયર પ્લાન્ટ એ બનાયા. ધારો કે ન્યુક્લિયર પ્લાન્ટમાં શું છે કે ધારો કે એક લઈએ શુદ્ધ લઈએ, યુરેનિયમ લઈએ આપણે, શુદ્ધ યુરેનિયમ 1 ગ્રામ, ખાલી 1 ગ્રામ લઈએ આપણે, અને 1 ગ્રામમાં યુરેનિયમ આપણે છે ને એનો જે અંદર જે ન્યુક્લિયસ હોય એ આપણે છૂટો પાડીએ, પ્રોટોન અને ન્યુટ્રોન છૂટા પડીએ, એટલે ખૂબ જ ગરમી ઉત્પન્ન થાય, પ્રચંડ ગરમી ઉત્પન્ન થાય. અને એ ગરમી જે ઉત્પન્ન થાય એમાંથી જે પાણી હોય એ એની વરાળ બને. પાણી જોડે હોય એટલે વરાળ બને, અને એ વરાળથી ટર્બાઇન ચાલે, અને ટર્બાઇનથી જનરેટર ચાલે, અને પછી આમાં ઇલેક્ટ્રિસિટી ઉત્પન્ન થાય. એટલે હવે જો આના બદલે, પાણીના બદલે તમે બીજું કંઈ મૂકો પદાર્થ, તો ન્યુક્લિયર બોમ્બ બની જાય. એટલે કહેવાનો મતલબ શું છે કે જળ પદાર્થ બી છે ને એનર્જી છે, એટલે ઉર્જા છે, એમાં ઉર્જા છે. એટલે દરેકમાં ભગવાન છે. ઇન શોર્ટ, દરેકમાં ભગવાન છે. એટલે આપણે બધા મંદિરમાં જઈએ તો આપણે મૂર્તિમાં જઈએ ભગવાનને, તો આપણે હવે ખરેખર થશે ના, ખરેખર તો ભગવાન છે જ એવું આપણે લાગશે. એટલે આપણે ઉઘાડી આંખે છે ને આપણે હવે બંને બેઠી શકવાની જરૂર નહીં પડે. મેડિટેશનની આપણે ઉઘાડી આંખે જોઈ શકીએ કે દરેકમાં ભગવાન જ છે. અને જો આ તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ આપણે લઈશું, તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ આવી રીતે આવી, તો આપણે પછીથી ઇવન આ ભાગવતમાં છે ને, ભાગવતમાં પ્રમાણ છે. પ્રહલાદને એના ફાધરે કહ્યું, આ થાંભલામાં ભગવાન છે કે છે? તો હા કે છે. તો થાંભલામાંથી ભગવાન નીકળ્યા. એટલે ભગવાન બધે જ છે. તો હવે આ ભગવાન જો બધે હોય તો એના ફાયદા શું થાય? આપણે પોતાના જીવનમાં ફાયદા શું થાય એ આપણે જોઈએ. થોડા ફાયદા છે. પહેલા તો મોટા મોટો ફાયદો સમદ્રષ્ટિ થશે દરેકમાં. કારણ કે દરેકમાં ભગવાન છે. એટલે ગાય, બ્રાહ્મણ, ચાંડાલ, હાથી, ગાય, કૂતરો, બધામાં પણ ભગવાન દેખાશે. પણ ભગવાન દેખાશે, પણ એ સમદ્રષ્ટિ કહેવાય. વ્યવહાર અલગ હોય. સમ વ્યવહાર નહીં. વ્યવહાર દરેક જોડે અલગ કરવાનો. દરેક જોડે વ્યવહાર અલગ કરવાનો, પણ દ્રષ્ટિ રાખવાની ભગવાનની. પછી બીજું, મને અહંકારમાં નહીં રહે. દરેકમાં ભગવાન છે તો પછી હું શ્રેષ્ઠ છું, હું વિદ્યમાન છું, હું જ્ઞાની છું, એવું કશું પછી રહેશે જ નહીં. અહંકાર જતો રહેશે. બધામાં ઈશ્વર તત્વ છે. એટલે મને માન, અપમાન, રાગ, દ્વેષ, વિજય, પરાજય, નિંદા, સ્તુતિ કશું જ નહીં રહે. બધું પછી સુખ અને દુઃખની પરિસ્થિતિમાં મને આ બધું ઈશ્વર જ મને મોકલી છે. આ ઈશ્વર જ આપે છે મને. એટલે મારું ધારું કશું રહેશે જ નહીં. એટલે નો ફરિયાદ, બધું સ્વીકાર. તમે જો રામ છે આપણે રામાયણની અંદર, એમને સવારે કયું ખબર પડી કે વનમાં જવાનું છે, તો સ્વીકાર, હસતા મોઢે સ્વીકાર કરી લીધો. એટલે કોઈ પ્રોબ્લેમ ના રહે. તો પછી આપણે દરેક ભગવાન હશે એટલે આપણે પરોપકાર કરીશું, સેવા કરીશું, દાન કરીશું, મદદ કરીશું, દરેકને એ કરીશું આપણે. અને અંદર મારા ભગવાન છે એને તો પછી મારે ભય કોઈ નહીં રહે. હંમેશા ભગવાન મારી સાથે જ છે, એટલે મને કોઈ ભય નહીં રહે. અને પ્રભુ મારા બધા વિચારો અંદર, મારા કર્મો બધું જુએ છે. અંદર બેઠા છે એટલે બધું જુએ છે. એટલે હું ખોટું કામ નહીં કરું, હું ખોટું કંઈ ખાવું નહીં, ખાવાનું સારું ખાઈશ, પૌષ્ટિક ખોરાક ખાઈશ. અંદર ભગવાન છે, બરાબર. પછી આપણે પર્યાવરણના પદાર્થ છે બધા, દરેક પદાર્થ, પાણી કે બધું, એનો બગાડ નહીં કરું. પર્યાવરણને શુદ્ધ રાખીશ, પર્યાવરણને શુદ્ધ રાખીશું. અને પ્રભુ અંદર મારી અંદર પ્રભુ છે. દરેક પ્રભુ મારી અંદર પ્રભુ છે, તો મારે બીજું જોઈએ શું હોય? નો ડિઝાયર. ભગવાન છે કે અંદર બેઠા બધું જાણે છે. મારે શું જોઈએ છે બધાને ખબર છે. એ આપવાનો જ છે મને. શું કરવાનું મારે એના શરણે જતું રહેવાનું કે હું ભગવાન છું એવું મારે અંદર ભગવાન છે એવું માની લેવાનું. તો આ અને પછી ભગવાન આનંદનો સાગર છે. આનંદ સાગર તો એ જે અન્ન સાગર અંદર હોય તો એ મને આનંદ રહે, કાયમ માટે આનંદ રહે. તો આપણે આ એક તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ આપણે લઈએ આપણે તો સારામાં સારી તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ છે. આ એક ગીતામાંથી લીધી મેં તત્વદ્રષ્ટિ. થેન્ક યુ. જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
So thank you, Hasmukh Bhai. So we will conclude this thing, and next time we will get right into a Tattva Buddha teaching. As before we finish, as I said, the glory of human life, and Kanchan Bhai already mentioned that from a Vivek Chudamani. But let's not forget Ramayana. What Ramayana has said, which you already know. बड़े भाग्य मनुष्य तनु पावा सुर दुर्लभ सब ग्रंथ ही गावा. बड़े भाग्य, it is the greatest fortunate मनुष्य तन पावा, that we are in the form of human being. सुर दुर्लभ, सुरा कौन से देवो. It is impossible even for devas to get. Sur Durlabh Sab Grantha Hi Gava. All our scriptures, they have said and repeatedly. So this is what it is. Now you are also saying, what does this Tattvadrashti gives? It gives Purnatva, total fulfillment.
Fulfillment.
We will
So
have this
speak.
prayer. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Jai Shri Krishna, and we'll see you
Before
all.
you close, Dr. A.K. Patel, if anybody has question, ask them if they have any questions. So that will solve the
Yeah.
problem.
Anybody has any question? I think that's open to any,
Yeah, because people didn't get it or something, question, go ahead and ask the
comment.
questions.
Even
Okay.
comment.
ઈશ્વરભાઈ, આજે
હા.
આપણા ગ્રુપમાં રક્ષાબેન અને પ્રફુલભાઈ બંને
હા.
જોડાયા છે આપણો નંબર વાપરીને. હા.
Please show your face. Can you
They can, I don't know if they can.
okay. Well,
But
You have to unlock the camera so they could see them.
can you unlock the Rakshaban? No.
we want to just say Jai Shri Krishna to you, and
That's it.
Anyway, we need to add them into our WhatsApp group too. Okay.
can somebody provide me their phone numbers? I will give my
Yeah.
phone number 847-347-0.
હા જો રક્ષાબેન જોડાયા.
જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
Ben,
ઈશ્વરભાઈ, અમે તો મળીએ છીએ માનવ સેવામાં આપની ઘણી વાર.
absolutely, પણ I think આ એક નવું ગ્રુપ છે. This is the different meeting. બધામાં ત્યાં ભીડ હોય. This is one place where there is no crowd. Did you realize that? This is a crowdless group.
એ છે ને, અમે વેદાંતિક જ છીએ. અમે ચેતના મિશનમાંથી દયાનંદ સ્વામીજી જે છૂટા પડેલા, એમના બધા ડિસાયપલ છે, એમના આશ્રમમાં 20 વર્ષથી જતા હતા. એટલે અમે આ બધા ઉપનિષદ ને આ બધું થોડું ઘણું જાણીએ છીએ. અને વી હેવ લોટ્સ ઓફ બુક, અપરોક્ષ અનુભૂતિ અને આ બધી તત્વબોધ, ઘણી બધી બુક્સ મારી પાસે બી છે.
Very good.
એટલે
Very good.
વી ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ, સો અમે એને કીધું કે અમે વીલ ટ્રાય ટુ જોઈન
Well,
whenever we get
we
chance.
hope we can learn from each other. Next time, don't ask questions, but come with some comments. If you have something to add into our we are all students. Nobody's teacher here. Teacher is Almighty Lord. So we are all students. If you have something that is not covered in that particular discussion that pertains to that particular area of the discussion, please bring your comments. We would love to have your comments also in this. This is the advantage of this group. This is everybody's group. We are all
સ્વામી, આ બધા સ્વામી વિદિતાત્માનંદજી, સર્વપ્રિયાનંદ, અમે બધા પર્સનલ મળ્યા છે, તેજોમાનંદજી. કારણ કે મેની યર્સથી અમે લગભગ વેદાંતમાં જ છીએ, એટલે બીજામાં ઓછા જઈએ છીએ. એટલે ઘણું બધું ખબર પડે, પણ આમ સમજાવતા ના આવડે, પણ વી નો સમથિંગ, લિટલ બીટ.
Yeah, one of the things about knowledge, I'll tell you, it is like our dining table. If you don't scrub it every day, it collects dust.
રાઈટ.
Same thing. It needs to be revised and repeated to keep it fresh. and we can always, we can always do that. There's always something more that we can learn than what we already know. Sometimes the same thing that you heard from a different angle, it improves our clarity of that particular
Right.
knowledge. And this is the idea of this group. So welcome to this group. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
please
Thank
bring
you.
your comments, criticism, and participation, whatever you can do for future.
In a Zoom, there is a small dot called chat. You could put your address and phone number in chat, then Dr. Patel will get it.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I can send it to you too.
Please send, yeah. And I'll
I
join
will
that.
send you. I will send you the name and a number. મેં જયરામ ભાઈને મોકલી આપ્યું પણ I didn't send you, so I will do that.
Okay, then I'll tell him
Okay.
to add her on. But anyone else? I see Viju Ben is here, Meenakshi Ben is here. I think few more people I see
જય
here.
શ્રી કૃષ્ણ
જય
ઈશ્વરભાઈ
શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
All right.
મનીષા
Oh,
જય
Manisha,
શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
તું છુપાઈ ગયેલી છું બેન.
મારા શ્રીજી બાબા છે
કઈ વાંધો નથી. But it is so good to see all these faces. This smile, this spontaneous smile is a sign of inner peace.
હમ.
जो अंदर होता है ना वो चेहरे पे आता है. Whatever is inside, it comes on your face. If you are able to have that smile, there is a peace within, because
હમ.
it cannot happen. And I'm glad that we are staying connected
Yeah.
and moving on this spiritual path. We will see you a week from today. Good night. Jai Shri Krishna.
જય શ્રી
સર્વને જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ
જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.
જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ
જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ.